Hi everyone, it is Ella Whitaker, your exclusive Black Status upline. So today I would love to talk about some favorites that we need to discuss. Now, if you're a presenter or if you're a customer, so I'm creating this video for pretty much everyone, and we're going to be talking about tools. We're talking about tools school today. So as a professional makeup artist, I have a lot of experience with brushes and how to use things. And to tell you the truth, brushes have multiple different uses for different items. So we at Younique have fantastic brush sets, and we do have a lot of brush variety, and we're going to talk about what each brush does and the different ways that you can use them. So we're going to start off very quickly, and we're going to talk about real bristles versus synthetic. So any good makeup artist will have a very good brush set, and they will be a combination of natural bristles, which can come from any type of animal, or synthetic ones. And here is why. Natural bristles that are real bristles are used for any dry product, like for instance, pigments, foundations, and so forth. Any synthetics would be for your liquids. So when we talk about brushes, like I said, there are many different ways to use brushes for many different things. But knowing your brush set, you want to have a very good brush set. I've had some brush sets that have lasted me for up to 5 to 10 years. And the thing is that high quality brushes, which a lot of people do not use, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of customers and a lot of presenters that don't use a lot of good brushes, and it really does make a difference in the quality of product that you're putting on your face. So not only do you want to have a good quality product, but you also want a very good tool in order to apply it to create a beautiful finish. So it can make a huge difference in your application also. So that is something that everyone should know. Now, synthetic brushes that look like they are real brushes, like real bristles in regards to an animal type, they can be very deceiving. And the reason why is if you have something that is going to be not real hair, it's going to give you a different look. And what will happen is you'll lose a lot of product in it. So if you have a good selection of brushes, like Younique's. I've had Younique's brushes for over 3.5 years. It's one of the first things that I've purchased. I purchased the entire selection, and as a new brush comes out, I always get them. And the reason why is because they are fantastic tools and they've lasted me so long. Now, with natural bristles, real bristles of real hair, you will find that brushes will shed. That is natural. It's just like your hair, it sheds. The only thing is the difference between a good brush and a mediocre brush that's cheapy, you will find that a lot of the product or bristles will actually fall out, and you don't want that, especially after you maintain them with washing them. So another thing is how often do you wash your brushes? Well, if you have clients, you're going to be washing your brushes every single day. As a makeup artist, that's exactly what I did. But if you are using your brushes on yourself, it really all depends. You can wash them once a week. You can wash them every couple weeks, but it depends how much product you're putting on there. In between your brushes, if you're using some brushes for pigments for your eyeshadow or whatever, what you can take is a shine wipe. Okay, and you can clean your brushes in between. If you have a color that is very vibrant and you want to use the exact same brush for another color, then what you can do is clean it off. Yes, it's going to be a little bit wet, but that's okay. And you can clean off in between in order to get the true color. The thing is after you're using so many, like the eye brushes and so forth, because you're using different colors, even a lip brush, then you want to clean it a little bit more frequently because the color inside the bristles is going to get muddled. It will really make a difference in the color that you're putting on there. So you want to make sure that you clean your brushes quite often. I would say once a week if it's for personal use. If not, you can go longer. But to sanitize brushes, and this is what I do in between clients, is in order to sanitize my brushes, I use an alcohol-based rubbing alcohol in order to clean the brushes in between. And that's what I do to sanitize them. There are sanitizers out there that you can find at any beauty outlet. And then as far as washing your brushes, you can use anything like Johnson's & Johnson's baby wash. That works really, really well. It's very, very gentle when you wash your brushes, and you want to make sure that your brushes are always on an angle downwards, and that's how you store them to dry them or laying them flat. If you wash your brushes, any brushes, doesn't matter if they're synthetic or natural and real bristles, you never wash them and keep them upside. Here's why. There's glue at the base of your brushes, and this is going to then deteriorate, and it's always going to break down the bond between the bristles and the brush. So never ever store them upside down once they've been washed. You want to make sure that it's always in a downward motion that you're washing your brushes, laying them flat or laying them upside down. So that's the care. Let's get into the actual brushes themselves. So let's talk about your face brush. So there are different foundation brushes out there. You may see that there's some out on the market. We're going to talk about just Younique's, and I'm going to go into some extras that Younique doesn't have that you may want to use going forward. So number one, here is a foundation brush that is a synthetic bristle, and specifically for liquids or creams. So I've used these brushes today because I'm having a little bit of a date tonight. So you're going to see that some of these brushes have been used and not necessarily cleaned. So this foundation brush is fantastic. It is great for application of any liquids. Now, as far as creams are concerned, this is really, really good for creams, but this is great for placement. The one thing with a foundation brush, this one's synthetic, so it's used for liquids. When you're using a flat foundation brush, what you want to use in the motion is using it in an X. And the reason why is because you don't want lines. So when you're placing product, I always go in an X, and that's how I apply it. So this is great for thicker products and also liquid foundation. The combination that I like using this is to place product on my face. If it's a liquid foundation like Touch Liquid Foundation, you can apply it all over the face. And then what I go in with is a blending bud, which Younique has two of them. There is one that is a purple bigger one and a smaller pink one. The smaller pink one is for defined areas like underneath the eyes, concealing, and so forth. The bigger one is to blend the rest of the face. This one is another store-bought one from Ulta. It is a little bit softer, but Younique's are absolutely fantastic. And when using a blending bud, I use a blending bud for pretty much everything. I do it to blend out liquid foundation. I do it to then smooth out loose powder on my face or even translucent powder. This is something that is my must and go-to for absolutely everything. And so this is a blending bud. That is exactly what it's used for. It's used to blend out the face and in order to create a flawless look on top of the face also. So when using this, I may want to go in after in order, if I see some lines or anything like that, then I go in with the blending bud and use it. A blending bud always needs to be used damp, never dry. And the reason why is because you want product to sit on top of it. It also creates a little bit of moisture. And when using a blending bud, you push in, roll, and bounce. Push in, roll, bounce. So when you're using a blending bud, that is the motion that you're using on the skin. And the reason why is because it's going to create a beautiful complexion. It's going to go right into the pores. And if you're using a primer, this is going to push the product right into the primer and have it very long lasting throughout the day. So that's your foundation brush. You can also use another unique foundation brush, which is for the liquid foundation. This brush can be used for our liquid foundation, BB cream. You can use it for the cream also. And this is also a synthetic, which you would use for a liquid foundation. So a way you can use this is as a stipple brush. So stippling is literally pushing product into your skin, and then you can buff it out if you like in circular motions. So this is a liquid foundation brush that definitely you could be using for BB cream or the liquid foundation, touch liquid foundation. Another brush that we have are our foundation and concealer brush. This is a brand new brush that can be used in multiple ways. So this brush can be used for liquids. It can be even used for powders. So this end, what I like to do is buff out any concealer that you apply on the face. This is great for blending and buffing. This side also great for if you want to use it for a liquid foundation, but this is great for our loose powders. It is also great for our Behold translucent powders. It really does get a lot of product on there. It really does blend out beautifully. The bristles and the way that this is created is absolutely gorgeous. Now, if we're going into powders, what I would definitely recommend for absolutely everyone is to get a powder puff brush. This is a beautiful blending brush that I always use to finish every single product. So with a natural and real bristle brush, what I did cringe about before is people using this as a liquid foundation brush where they dropped in product in this. And to tell you the truth, natural bristles are not used for liquids. What it will do is it will break down the product eventually, which means that the bristles are going to be broken down. It's going to loosen the bond at the base of the actual brush, and this is not what it's meant for. Now, some people may use that. That's a preference of yours, but know that, especially when speaking with presenters or even clients on how to use this. So a powder puff brush is a thicker, loose bristle brush that is great for loose powders and to buff out the skin. It's almost in comparison to a Bare Minerals brush, even though Bare Minerals uses synthetic brushes. This one is a beautiful brush to buff out the skin all over and throughout the face. So it is absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing, and it is fantastic to use. All right, so as we're going into that brush, there's other brushes that we have. We'll talk about this. This is another natural bristle brush that is absolutely amazing. It is great for using it on an angle and creating precise definition for blushes, for contouring, and creating a little bit of highlight or contour. Great brush used for powders. Now, because it is a shorter bristle brush, that means that you can get a little bit more product in there and be a little bit more definitive. When talking about bristles, the length versus like a long bristle versus a short bristle, a long bristle brush is best for blending. You get product in there, but it maneuvers better because it's a longer bristle. Anything that is a shorter bristle on your brush, then what that means is it's going to get more product on there, and it's going to be a little bit more precise, and it's going to get a lot more pigment on your face. So with brushes, this one with an angle is great for contouring, to place your powder. If you have a blush on your face, great to do that, and also go along the edge of your bone structure. It's great for placement on top of the face, anywhere along those lines. So great as a blusher brush or even a contour brush. Another brush that we have from Younique is a contour brush itself. So this is great as a synthetic that you could use for your highlight underneath the eyes. Great for placement, great for, you can even bake with this if you really want to, because it is a thicker component. It's synthetic, but it has a lot of bristles on there. So that means that a lot of product can be placed on this. So if you're actually putting it on here, a lot of the product can be applied on this. The other side is used for contouring. Great contour brush that you can be using all along the jawline underneath. It's also synthetic. Is this one synthetic? I'm not even sure with this bristle. Yes, it is synthetic. So this synthetic brush is great for application for any contouring. Really does get a precise line all over the face. And it's great just because it has both brushes on both ends. Great for any client that loves to contour and use it on their face. Another brush from Younique is a fan brush. Now, a lot of people ask, okay, what is a fan brush and why do you need this? So a fan brush is obviously a longer bristle brush. It is used for powders. And what it does is it creates a beautiful line for highlighting. So if you're using a luminizer or any highlighting that you want to use on top of the bone structure, it just places it very beautifully and very lightly. So you can use this as heavy as you want or as light as you want. But if I'm using a powder like a luminizer, this is great for placement on top of the cheekbone without making it too defined, too much pigment. Gives you just enough pigment in order to do that. What a fan brush can also be used is to create a precise line underneath your contour and add a little bit more highlight underneath the cheek line. So it just gives you enough that will go a very, very long way. So it's great for that. So that is a fan brush. We have one that just came out just a couple months ago. Another face brush that you can definitely be using is a concealer brush. This concealer brush is used to make very, very precise, used in precise areas and precise ways. So what I like to do is use our liquid foundation or liquid concealer. This is great for applying with this. This is a must-have that I have. And this is great for placement all over your eyes, underneath your eyes, being very concise when you're doing highlighting on your face. This is also really, really good for underneath the eyebrows if you want to clean up anything underneath your eyebrows when you're doing them and using a concealer. So this concealer brush is a synthetic brush used for liquid concealers, and it's absolutely great. You can also blend with this also. Or you can finish it off with this concealer brush here to blend that out. So you can use this as a placement, the thinner brush to place the product, and then to buff it out, you can use this one also, or a blending bud. Blending bud, blending bud, blending bud. So say that about 10 times, right? So, okay. So those are all the face brushes from Younique. There's a lot of them. Now you can use them for multiple purpose, like I said, but face brushes are really, really ideal, and face brushes are really necessary. You really want to have really good face brushes in order to apply your product. Like I said, the tools that you use and the combination with the good products that you use will make a great, great combination to apply your product flawlessly. Let's get into your eye brushes that we have from Younique. They are a combination, yet again, of synthetics and real bristles. Now, another thing is especially with Younique products, there is no animal cruelty done to get any of the bristles from any animal. No animals were harmed to use these products and create these products. So you also, if you're conscious about that, then you don't have to worry about that whatsoever. All right, so let's talk about some eye brushes. So Younique has a couple of different eye brushes that they have on the market. So there's one right here that is a kind of a angled brush and also a sponge brush. Now these can definitely be washed. The sponge brush can be washed multiple times. You don't throw this out. So you can definitely wash this with any light shampoo like the brush shampoo or Johnson & Johnson, like I said, and then also an angle. So what do you use this product for, or this brush for? So when using a sponge brush, it's great for, what am I trying to say here? So this brush is great for applying a lot of pigment. So for instance, if you're using a sponge brush, I like to use this for lighter products. And this is so you can actually push in the product very, very well and applying it on top of your eyelid or underneath the highlight underneath the brow bone or whatever. This is great for placing and sitting it on there instead and using a lot of pigment on here. So you can use this any which way. You can even throw some rose water on here, spray some rose water. And what you can use is it for loose pigment or even any compact pigments or eyeshadows, and apply it that way also. It's just going to give you a lot of pigment on this brush in order to create a lot of color. So a sponge brush is great and very versatile in many, many ways. This angled brush can be used many ways also. It can also be used as a crease brush. It can be used to blend out lines, especially eyeliners if you really wanted to. It's great for, this one has a little bit of room to wiggle with. Like I said, shorter bristles are going to be stiffer brushes that are going to put more pigment on your eye. The ones that are longer bristles that are looser are more for blending purposes. So this one can be used many different ways. It can be drawing on a smoked look with a pigment that can make a really, really soft smoke look. Or it can be used in the crease, like I said, or it can be used as a highlight underneath the brows in order to get really, really defined looks. So eye brushes can be used versatilely for everything. You can pretty much use them for anything and any purpose. So if we're looking at this, we're looking at a crease brush right here. This crease brush is a very stiff brush, which means that there's a lot of product that can be placed on here and it's going to create a really, really nice color and create it into your crease. So when applying this, you will be putting it in and applying a lot of the product into the actual crease. And this is not for blending. This is more for placement into the crease line and putting whatever color that you want as a shadow in there. This crease brush can also be used on the outer edge or even to smoke out an eye also. Like I said, it can smoke out an eye and put a lot of placement in the corners. This is a placement brush, which means that you're going to place powder in there and pigment and then blend it out after. So you're going to get a lot of product on this because it's a stiff brush and you're going to be able to apply it with precise way that you can easily place the product in here and then blend it out after. So that is a crease brush. Another brush that we use is a Splurge Cream Shadow Brush. So this Splurge Cream, see, I'm already getting tongue-tied every time I say this. So a Splurge Cream brush is a great brush that's going to be synthetic and can be used for creams. So this has multiple purposes because not only can you use this for your cream shadows, but you can use this easily for your concealers also. So if you have a concealer or want to clean up any lines underneath the brow bone where you have you've done your brows, you want to clean them up. If you want to clean up your lipstick underneath with a concealer also, if you want to create a little bit more highlight, you can use this brush multiple ways, not only for a cream splurge eyeshadow. So a cream splurge eyeshadow, like I said, is more of a kind of liquidy item, even though it is compact. It's great to apply with this actual brush and create a lot of color on one brush. It is a very, very tight brush with shorter bristles that will be able to apply a lot of the product no problem. So that is a synthetic brush that we have. Another brush that we have is a deluxe brush, which is a longer bristle brush. And this one is used primarily for more blending purposes, or if you don't want to use a lot of color. So for instance, if I wanted to create a look that is going to have darker colors in there in my crease, but I don't want to create it too dark, it would be too much for me. So then what I would use is a longer bristle brush that would be used as more of a blender And you can blend that in, not making such a dark color into the crease. This is also great for blending in general. So once you're placing all product in here, what you want to always do is blend out, unless you're trying to get a really, really strong and specific look. I always blend. This is the blush or the brush that I would use to blend out absolutely anything. This is a natural bristle. This is real bristle. So this is a great brush to use as a blender. Now, something that Younique doesn't have is a longer bristle blending brush. So I believe as a makeup artist, this brush is necessary in anyone's kit. You can buy them anywhere. What I like to have is one that's synthetic and one that is real bristle. And this is the perfect and the ultimate blending brush for your eyes. It is a very loose brush, but it is fantastic when you're actually blending out. It gives the most blend out of any type of brush out there. So this is a really long blending brush for your eyes. Now, moving on to another brush that we have with Younique is which one is this? This is a liner and shader brush. So this one is a shorter bristle, real bristles also. This one you can apply with anything. You can apply a highlight with this. So underneath the brows, you can apply product and pat it down. Or you can use this more as a small blender. You can use this in the crease also. This is a multi-purpose brush that if it's a customer, then definitely you're gonna want to have this, because not only do you have a beautiful brush on one side for your eyes, but you also have a liner brush on the other side. This liner brush can be used for multiple purposes. This brush was brought in over a year and a half ago. So I use this to line my eyes if I wanted to use a specific eyeliner or a powder as a pigment and use it as an eyeliner. So what I would do is wet it down with rose water and then mix it in and create a precise line as a liner, because it does have an angle on there. Or you can use it to clean up underneath the brows again. Or you could actually use this for any powder or brows. So this is another liner brush that you could be using for your brows. Even if you have a pigment that you can use this for your brows. This brush can be literally used in multiple ways. So a liner brush can be used as a liner. It can be even used for your eyebrows. It can be used to clean up underneath. These brushes are so multi-purposed that you can use this for pretty much absolutely anything, and two brushes come in one. So this is a must-have that you must have. Another brush that Younique has come out with is a specific brow brush. And this one is one of my favorites. This brush actually has two different ends, both synthetic, great for being really precise on the brows, and this can be used as a liner also. I also use this to clean up underneath the brows and create a highlight with this brush. So literally with this angle on this side, you would create your brow. If you're using a powder or even a liquid, you can easily do that with this side. And the flat side you can basically use for your brows also, or you can use it to clean up that one side. So there's so many brushes from Younique that actually have two ends, and you're actually getting your bang for your buck because you're getting two brushes in one. Fantastic use, and then you're not carrying around a lot of brushes either. If you're traveling and you want to take your brush set, you can take a couple of brushes instead of taking all of them. And you can take literally a couple of brushes and they'll do multiple things. Another brush that we have from Younique is our brow comb and also our eyelash comb. What I love about this specific combination out of any brushes, and like I said, I'm a makeup artist and I've used many different brushes out there. The quality of all these brushes are absolutely great, but this eyelash comb is one of the best eyelash combs because it is very, very tight. There's not a lot of space in between the eyelash comb, and it really does separate your eyelashes in order to create length and definition between lashes. This is one of the best combs that are out there. It's metal and it can easily be wiped down and washed off. This brow comb, when do you use this? So a lot of people ask me this, like, when do you use this? Well, a brow comb is really necessary for a lot of things. If you're grooming your eyebrows, which pretty much every woman may do. If you have longer eyebrows, in order to cut them and to groom them, a brush like this is great to clean them up, push them up, and then you can cut them with your scissors. I use nail scissors for that. And I always make sure that my eyebrows are, like, I don't have a lot of strangly hairs. So this is a great brush to brush out the eyebrows. The other thing is you want to brush out your eyebrows every single time before you start coloring them, whether it is with powders or a pencil or whatever. You're always going to want to go in the direction that you want to apply the color and to create your brows. So this brush is always great to also groom them, to help position them, but also if you want to blend out your eyebrows, if your eyebrows are a little bit too much in definition, then this is going to be able to blend that out beautifully also. Basically used as a spoolie. If you know what a spoolie is, it's a great brush that you could be using for that. So another thing is, another brush that we have is a lip pencil brush. This lip brush is fantastic, and let me tell you why. A lip brush is always useful. It is one of the tools that, although many people don't think it's useful, it is probably one of the best tools that you can use. The reason why is if you use a lip brush, you're not using too much product. So with all the product, if you're putting on a lipstick on, or using like a tube of lipstick or gloss or a matte lipstick or whatever, you have a lot of lipstick that's going to come off and put onto your lips. If you don't want a chunk of lipstick on your lips, then using a lip brush is not going to use a lot of product. This also creates a very precise line. So if you are an individual that doesn't use lip liner, this is going to be easy to outline your lips and then create a lip on the inside. Makeup artists usually use this on their clients because it creates a specific color. It adds it very definitively, and it's not using a lot of product, and it will stay on longer. So you can easily fill this in. You can line the lips and fill them in also without using a lot of product. It's amazing, especially when you're using them on clients. So I think I've gone through all of the brushes that we have from Younique. The other thing is I want to use for multiple purposes is if you're using any of our skincare products, foundation brush is a great product to use for your skincare also. I have a couple of these brushes. I use one of them for our mask, which is a charcoal oxygenating mask. I use it to take the product out and then apply it on my face. So I don't use the exact same foundation brush. I use another foundation brush just for my skincare. So the foundation brush that I use for my mask, it's just so I don't get it all over the place. I'm not using a ton of product and I can apply it easily. The other things that I use it for is even my skincare. So if I want to take out some product for clients or whatever, I use a foundation brush, and even for the moisturizers and cleansers. So a foundation brush can be used for multiple reasons besides an actual foundation itself. And that's it, everyone. That's all she wrote. So I have just basically talked about all the brushes, talked about care, and talked about what you can use for whatever reason. Now, if you have any questions in regards to brushes, or if you're a customer looking for these brushes, please don't hesitate to ask me. I am a professional makeup artist and know how to use these products also. So if you have any questions in regards to purchasing any of these, please contact me as soon as possible. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic Friday and a fantastic weekend. Bye, everyone.